Taurus, TT here with another channel message for all of my Taurians and within our collective. If you are a Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Mars, North Node placements, or you just have Taurus in your chart, some of these channel messages may resonate with you. All of my channel readings are timeless, so whenever you are guided to the reading, trust and know that that's when you're meant to receive it. If you are new, welcome to our love nest over here on Talk Taurus Tarot. If you're returning, welcome back, you guys. Please be aware of scammers in the comment sections posing as me, offering or soliciting tarot readings through a WhatsApp phone number. That is not me, so be mindful and not get scammed by the scammers. If you would like to book a personal reading, all of that information is in my description box. There is a phone number where my personal assistant Sarah will offer you further details to get you on my schedule and proceed with the reading process. Okay, so I just wanted to give you guys an update before we get started, and also congratulate you, Taurus. I'm not sure what this is, but you're finally seeing the truth about something. So for those of you that are finally allowing yourself to receive the truth, that's what I feel like this is, because I feel like this is something where you've been hearing the truth over and over and over again. I think about it over and over again. So those questions of apprehension, like maybe she loves him, maybe he loves him, maybe they don't, maybe they do. So this back and forth type of energy, I feel like you're finally seeing the root cause of it. And for some, it is a father wound, or something to do with your stability being fractaled, not being protected or feeling protected by authority figures in your childhood. So this could be an inner child wound that began around the ages of 4. You could be 44 or somewhere around that ballpark, 33, 68. But nevertheless, the truth is being exposed. That's what I see here. Like, you finally see the truth for someone for who they really are. You finally see, for some of you, this could be a father. You finally see the control that someone may have had on your development and how it's really impacted your life. It could be an older man or older woman, or just someone that is very logical, disciplined, and though for some of you it's on the other side of the spectrum, this person is your father figure, may have been very involved. They provided a lot of structure, a lot of discipline, and you respect that person, but they may have held a lot of control over what you did or didn't do as an adult. You may have been, even as an adult, really, you know how sometimes you can have that father figure in your life, whether they're male or female, but that you just respect their opinion, and anytime you make a mistake or you're not successful at something, you may feel embarrassed or like you don't want your father to know. You ever had that type of energy like, oh God, please, I hope my father never find out about this, because he would turn over in his grave, or he would not be okay with that. So this has been a block for you. So I feel like whatever has been creating delays in your life, trying to be fair, trying to negotiate, trying to compromise and have a split belief system, has only fragmented you from being your true authentic self. And in a lot of ways, your relationship may have mirrored that as well, because they may have been able to show you how much you care, right? About what people are saying about you. You know what I'm saying? So your romantic relationships may have mirrored that you cared a lot about the people from your hometown, or what they thought about you, and being torn between what you want and what the people in your family want. Hold on a second. I got a knock at the door. So some of y'all may get a knock at the door. Okay, Taurus, I am back. So yeah, there was a delivery. So I don't know, somebody could be getting a delivery as well. I heard mount. Okay. I don't know. Something about needing some power, or needing someone to help you reestablish control. All right, this may be something that you desire, like you may be desiring emperor energy, okay, or just being with someone or being surrounded by someone that has a lot of self discipline. They have a lot of structure. You don't have to tell them what to do. They're protective, yet very stable, where you don't have to worry about your stability constantly being uprooted in your life, so you can focus and really, not have to struggle. Okay, I am seeing that energy for some of you Taurians, where you no longer want struggle love, or you no longer want to be in relationships where you have to constantly compromise and reconcile and argue and compromise and consider the other person's feelings, and other people being able to lie on you or interrupt your relationship about anything. So those are those of you as well that just feel like you had enough of constantly having to defend something. That's what I'm picking up, Taurus. So let's see what the message is, because you are being defended with this energy here, but no cards want to come out. So I don't know, child. I don't know, y'all. We're gonna see. Let's see what's coming up. I also heard loyalty. Loyalty could be a thing for somebody as well. Look at that. You recently have learned a very significant lesson. Okay, something to do with a contract with someone that was meant to teach you something. I feel like you successfully learned a lesson. Okay, whatever this event is, your intuition. Some of you, your heart center is your messenger. So when your heart tells you something, trusting it the first time or believing it the first time, that was a part of your lesson, was to learn how to trust your heart and not allow, whatever comes out of a person's mouth or false promises to be the thing that allow you to deceive your own heart, even when you know something to be true or accurate without having proof. This is a lot about not having proof. All right, denial, projecting shame. Autonomy, free will, manifestation. 63-36. So you could be those ages, but you know me, I'm about to pull out a little book right quick. So bear with me a second, Taurus. I gotta find my little bookity. So let's look at shadow self, denial, projecting shame. Being able to know when your shadow is up to no good. 36. All right, so we have our shadow self is a psychological and spiritual perceptive regarding the aspects of ourselves that we often either deny, sometimes cannot see, and conceal from the public. Every human being and higher beings have a shadow self. The problem arises when denial or refusal to see the shadow self takes hold, as this causes spiritual fragmentation in the psyche and blocks enlightenment and holistic integration. Was I not just saying something about fragmental? I think I was. Shadow selves not acknowledged take on an unaware and semi-aware autopilot type of spirit life of their own, usually resulting in projections when triggered. This is where dark entities subconsciously reside and where archons can steer and manipulate if a person is not conscious. All dark entities are merely abandoned aspects of all life. Damn. So yeah. Didn't I say running amok? Do you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the channel message from Sunday. Over experiences of trauma can tend to make you fragment yourself and split yourself. Just like in the Quantumania movie with Ant-Man, where when he went into that realm and every time he was thinking a particular way, he kept fragmenting himself. And they all were talking at once, and he almost like gave up. Interesting observation. Okay, let's keep going. The shadow self typically emerges during early childhood and progressively manifests if not integrated. The shadow self contains anything that we were taught and judged as a small child to see as inappropriate, wrong, shameful, or bad, or we were punished or rejected for, etc. What we reject in ourselves is rejected back onto us. These conditions may have been passed on to us through our families, our schools, our communities, our culture, etc. The denial of these aspects we do not like or accept in ourselves forces those archetypal aspects of self to be repressed. It wanders, not fully conscious to the self-projecting or overreacting onto others defiantly what they deny in themselves. A basic example of this could be if you angrily overreact towards another who is sincerely sad, it is highly probable you have denied and repressed your own sadness. Facing and owning our shadow self aspects can be challenging, even painfully so initially, and requires self-awareness, humility, and accountability, while also forgiving ourselves. Shadow work is the true test of self-love. True core healing always contains huge elements of shadow work. So there's some type of test of self-love that you recently conquered or successfully passed that has something to do with your true core, like doing some true core healing work on yourself. Looking at your denials, your triggers, your repressed thoughts, childhood wounds, how you overreact to situations. You could have gone through dark night of the soul, or you could be coming out of it. Addictions, seeing what triggers your addictions, coping mechanisms, self-loathing. So you're integrating all of these aspects of yourself that have been fragmented and kind of like doing its own thing, creating a semi-like spirit of yourself, a reflection of yourself. Little demons. Oh Lord. So you becoming whole. So you're like calling back all your little minions and being like, okay, listen, you do not control me. Okay, I have autonomy over my existence. Let's look at autonomy. The Andromedans. Dun, dun, dun. The Andromedans come from the Andromedan constellation, 2.5 million light years away, near the Great Square of Pegasus. Andromedans inhabit a massive area in space and are possibly the oldest race that visits our Milky Way galaxy. They are an abstract and dimensionally fluid species. Andromedans do not need or use spacecrafts. They usually use the nearby galactic gateway in Taurus as an interdimensional travel portal. Though Andromedans can holographically adopt any appearance, including elements, via shapeshifting, they typically appear like humanoids with varying shades of blue skin. Other ETs revere Andromedans and say that they are possibly the highest known ascended masters of these regions in the universe. Andromedans' methodologies are often perceived as obscure. That word obscure, I was literally researching the word obscure the other night. And in the Bible, I was reading Jeremiah or First Corinthians. It was First Corinthians something. But yeah, it was talking about David, Goliath, and Saul, right? It was also describing, what brought us to that was, all right, the divine priest and priestess, or priestess, the dove, okay, Mami Wata. Through researching Mami Wata and the Sibyls and different things like that, it brought me to scriptures in the Bible where I was drawn to look up my name, Keela, in the Bible. And the Bible mentions Keela, I think, like 16 times. And how many times it mentions it, there's only one scripture where it kind of gives hint to the genealogy aspect of Keela, not just being a city or a fortress or a fortified city that inhabited protection on sacred grounds, right? But it also spoke of Keela in the form of descendants of Caleb. Okay. And I thought it was interesting because when I was pregnant with my son, I was going to name him Caleb, but I never even read the scripture in the Bible where they even share any relativity. But when I looked up the word gentalis, right, and garmite, which is what they referred to, the garmite, they were describing bone. And so when you looked up garmite, it kind of meant like bone or stone, okay? And stone and bone also represents symbolically, if we want to look at it that way. You know how archaeologists dig up artifacts of bones in stone, right? A lot of different species were discovered in the stone, right? So they drop some clues or some hints in the Bible in that one scripture out of 16 passages speaking about Keela. They dramatized, right? The way they rewrote the actual Bible, they dramatized that as being just a location. Like, don't even look at it any deeper versus being like descendants. But it was through the words that they used in the scripture where if you look up each specific word, like garmite, it brought you to stone and bone, which also denotes a lineage, right? Or being able to describe some type of artifact in stone connected to the descendants of Caleb. Now, the gentalis, when it looked up, there was this division between Jews not agreeing with Hebrews, right? So the Jews separated themselves from the Hebrews, or vice versa. And the Jews referred to the Hebrews as Gentiles. And the Hebrews referred to the Jews as Goyims or something like that. But ultimately, what it meant was that they did not pretty much believe a certain way of life that was obscure. So, descendants of Caleb, which is Keela, right? Or the people of that region or tribe were called, they were called by the name of their city, I guess. No different if you have the Chickasaw or whatever, that region, they all call themselves by the name that they were invoking or whatever. But obscure, it's just crazy how, like, in today, where the tomb of Abraham lays is supposedly what was the name? It was supposedly the location or the area of the land of milk and honey where Caleb was given an inheritance, a Horab. I think it was a Horab. Horan. It was a Horab or Horan. He was given that by Joshua. And Joshua gave him the inheritance because Joshua and Caleb were the ones that brought the people of Israel to supposedly the land of milk and honey. And as a part of his devotion to being like that inside man that helped with Moses with that transition, he was given that inheritance of land or whatever within the land of milk and honey, theoretically speaking. Today, that location is where the tomb of Abraham is located, which is kind of like one of the sacred grounds that the Jewish, Catholic, Christian systems utilize as a place that they acknowledge is, I guess, theirs, right? Or where they go. But a part of eradicating anything that was considered obscure in craft, right? What does obscure mean? You are able to do manifestations, teleport, use your or you're talking about the stars or anything like that. So whatever it is that they were doing, whatever abilities that they were able to perform, let's say wonders they were able to perform, they considered it obscure, and they considered it something that was a mythology that wasn't from here and it wasn't of God, therefore demonizing it. So it's getting interesting, y'all. It's getting interesting. I'm just in a rabbit hole right now. Thank you for going with me. But let's keep going. I digress. All right, so Andromeda's mythologies, what the hell? No, it's methodologies are often perceived as obscure yet brilliant. They are very elusive and selective about who they choose to communicate with. Andromedans are extremely concerned with humanity's future and with the ecological devastations happening on Earth. They would prefer all benevolent and malevolent ETs were absent for a while, so humanity can master their own momentous, energetic shifts of ascension without persuasion or deception. They are 12th dimensional ascended masters and have fully awakened to quantum capacities that far exceed humanity's still dormant inbuilt DNA code of abilities. Damn. Andromedans understand the limited logic and awareness Earth humans are conditioned into. However, humanity must incorporate and develop left and right brain hemisphere awareness and open heart presence and observation if they desire to evolve. For without this, the tiny bandwidth of human spatial and light awareness presently in the average human is just not enough for ascension. Andromedans have their own high council regarding intergalactic and interstellar governance of multitudes of star systems and galaxies. Wow. So this is especially for those self-agency, autonomy, left logic, right creativity, hemisphere, alignment, ascended consciousness, free will, untapped potential, 0 point energy, paradox perception, manifestation, crown chakra activation, free thinkers, telepathy, swift, multi-sensory perception, go-getter energy, unique, individual, quirky, eccentric, fluid genders, vibrant, creative, excitement. So you may resonate with that energy. All right. And a part of being open, this is bringing me back to that point where I mentioned, Taurus, that you may utilize your heart center as a navigation point or a point of reference to connect with that higher being. Okay, or higher beings in general, master teachers, really. And they are helping you to integrate your shadow self. So it's not running amok out here in the streets. Okay, the garden and the gate, a consciousness of lack. And you see how the heart here? Wow. Your heart's desires around money, good luck, prosperity, manifestation. Something was being tricked. Okay, so you're being taught about where this stems from, the consciousness of lack, and how it was instilled into humanity. And I feel like you're being taught by angelic beings here to help you overcome your own fear around the empire or the governance or the ordinance that have been kind of indoctrinated. Okay. Ooh, especially when it comes to that belief system, how you're supposed to be, how you were designed to be, especially my divine feminine, being designed to be submissive to a masculine energy is also a form of that as well. Let's go into these cards. So like I said, crown chakra, channeling through your throat chakra. This is not a joke. So whoever says that, shoot, be gone. Go about your business. This is AP classes and you're still in elementary school. Fuck it. Preschool. No, daycare. You need a fucking babysitter. Go back to your lane. Go back to your area. Nobody's talking to you. Moving on. So this is giving you the ability to speak directly to the water element. All right. Something about the emotions. What's waning. Okay. So a lot of your belief systems is directly affected by your emotions. The only thing that really helps a certain subconscious program stick in your subconscious mind is the way that you speak to yourself. And if you're only able to receive messages from a level of consciousness that is emotional or something about emotions here with the crescent moon, waning moon cycle. I think that is 41, 39, 23, 32, 1. Manifesting multidimensional perception, attunement. So you are going through another layer of attunement because you're creating something. I'm also seeing orbs. Okay, you may experience orbs or balls of light being able to channel like in your hand, like harness in your hands. There's an attunement. This is the ability to be able to touch something and speed the rapid growth of a thing. So let's say, for example, you have a green thumb. Whatever you touch may grow faster through this attunement. How you speak to it, things speed up. Anything that you say with great emotions, you bring into fruition, Taurus. That's what they want you to know. 2772. Some symbols have been left behind. So I'm seeing like the ground or the entire grass at one point used to be like a piece of paper. So writing certain notes on the planet, these messengers or these master teachers left signs or symbols, cropped it in the ground or on the ground in connection or affiliation with the things that were once taught to you. So it's points of being able to remember. It's like to assist humanity, they left certain blueprints behind. So crystals help you reconnect as well. I don't know, I'm hearing agate, kyanite, if I'm not mistaken. I'm hearing agate, kyanite, blue aventurine. I'm also thinking 51. This is why the study or the exploration around your emotional state of being is, as the representation of Taurian energy, is so profound, because this is the way to keep you wounded. Something about you being like a wounded warrior is through the attacks that you've experienced, or the thing, how you were spoke to in childhood, is the reason why certain manifestations on earth has come into fruition thus far, is because you've been a very open channel your whole life. So whatever was said to you or spoken to you, your emotions, you created monsters, you created creatures, you gave birth to creation of whatever you emotionally thought. This is also reminding me of the movie Sphere. So let's say you've something nightmares, okay? Your worst fears. This is why once upon a time they used to encourage not to allow young children to watch certain visuals on television that would perpetuate this fear, locking them into some type of karmic experience. Because whenever they saw that visual image, that's how easy it was for it to like stick. And next thing you know, they're saying and speaking things from whatever attachment that came onto them or that connected with them. But I feel like they gave this to humanity to allow this energy to oppress them, to affect their emotional state on a more readily, like continuously, and then over time it creates a will, because that's all you can focus on. So you're being set free. This has a lot to do with your perception. Your perception was creating delays for you. It was creating postponements. It was creating delays, indecision. What should you do? Overly concerned about what people would say about you or how they would perceive you has been affecting your emotions. Yeah. I just wanted to stop. Okay. You may be aware there is a familiar trauma bond here. There's a familiar trauma bond or trigger here, emotional trigger that comes from endings, a fear of endings. Like someone's, worst fears coming into fruition, but also manifesting your worst fears unbeknownst to you, or you may be aware of it, or someone connected to you may be aware of it, but they don't know no other way to address it except to ignore it. But every time they ignore it, they give birth to a shadow self that will eventually keep coming back. Yeah, we have this has a lot to do with letting go of attachments, surrendering one version of something so there could be an awakening. This is an awakening that's occurring here. a layer of possessive energy as well. There's this desire to tame something. I'm also picking up shape shifting energy as described in the book. Like being willing to let a version of you go to be able to experience a different version. But it's like when you let that version of you go, that old version, that old skin, because there's a shedding, right? I'm also seeing like around certain people, you take on different personality traits, or someone else around you does. It's like you start adapting to the energy in a room versus being able to maintain who you are. And it has something to do with your pride being triggered, your pride, or feelings of defeat, like feeling emotionally defeated by yourself, essentially, or your shadow self. There's also a phone call here. Someone's has been like resisting a phone call or not speaking to someone, and they may mention that, like, oh, I haven't heard from you in a while, or you act like you don't know anybody anymore. It feels like it could be a feminine energy, or someone that is a mother. 3 of Swords. I feel like someone's trying to just realize, figure out who they are, but it's not about like abandoning a version of yourself. It's about going into that heart chakra and figuring out where the abandonment stems from, and acknowledging. I feel like your shadow self wants you to acknowledge how you've abandoned a version of yourself that once suited you, when you had to fight, this energy showed up for you. You know what I'm saying? When you needed your enemies fought, this energy showed up for you. And I feel like it's just a version of yourself, but it's like feeling like that version of you disrupted you, or kept you from having or experiencing something that you wanted. Taurus, I can't even really say that this is you, but I am speaking to you. So I'm addressing it from the perspective of maybe you are discerning this for yourself, like trying to see what these connections were meant to teach you. Like you may be going through like self-evaluation, or, you know, reviewing the answers or the choices that you made in connection with a test you may have recently spiritually went through. Or you may be looking at all your prior relationships and seeing how, what exactly has been keeping you from like who's been holding on to you, what energies in the shadows lurk that you may not have been able to see or identify with, what emotional attachments have been created, what they were meant to teach you. We have 5-5 here. So there are catalysts here of change and perspective changes, because through pain there has been multiple levels of ascension, like very quickly as well. So there's a Taurus, I pick up your energy here. There's there being a need to grieve or mourn the endings of these things. What does that look like? Yeah. Like mourning, finally allowing yourself to mourn or purge. Feels like naive energy, where you feel like you lost, or love was lost, like being naive or not being able to see. Are you contemplating if you should get over something? Or someone could be encouraging you to get over somebody. Okay, you could have a mother figure that's encouraging you to get over someone, and they may be rubbing it in your face like I told you so. Someone also may be dreading this moment. Okay, like an epiphany or a realization, but it's I heard I shouldn't dream. I should have. I don't know if I said it. If it says I should have cheated or something. There's a song I think that says I should have cheated. I do not know. This is different, but it's like spirit wants you to see the higher perspective and then look at things through the lens down into your human experience. So you're taking a bird's eye view, or you're being encouraged very soon to take a bird's eye view at the situation. So we have betrayal and abandonment. So tracking down the experiences where you felt abandoned and you felt betrayed. And you're realizing that holding on to the things that those particular counterparts or relationships did to you has created a lot of delays in your life. Okay, going through the emotional loss and the grieving process in connection to relationships has made it hard for you to get over a particular lesson or to address and wake up and realize that you've been invested, like you have invested a level of repressed emotions for these experiences in your life, and that they also mirror your childhood of feeling abandoned by whoever or feeling betrayed by whoever. And those romantic relationships as well mirror the same ascension process that you're going through. And in order for you to create the abundance that you're looking for, you need to be aware of this. So when you start to feel like nothing is coming in for you, or you start to feel like no one helps you, or you're doomed to experience the same outcome, they want you to be aware that you're the creator of the repetitive outcome, because you haven't mastered how to respond when you feel bored. Idle hands is the devil's playground. You haven't mastered how to respond when you feel rejected. So when you feel rejected, what do? You act out. When you feel abandoned, what do? Another version shows up. When you feel like you've been betrayed, you like, I'm over this shit. And that's because you haven't awakened, or you're about to awaken to the realization that you're harboring, okay, these emotional triggers, and victimizing yourself, and continuing to reap the same narrative over and over again. And that's why they showed me Andromedan and manifestation. That's what your master teachers are trying to tell you. You see what I'm saying? And it's usually in regards to anytime you lose material wealth, your stability, or you feeling like you lost through your sexual energy, like you took something from me. And you go through periods of isolation where you restrict yourself from being able to experience these opportunities or experiences sexually, even, as a way, because it's obscure. You feel like your soul is trying to tell you to stay away, or like your soul is like telling you like this is a no-no. And I feel like the real issue here is not knowing or having learned how to work with this energy within yourself, how to integrate your shadow self, because the devil is also your shadow self, which is your suppressed or over possessive energy, or your repressed energy coming into fruition, being planted over and over again. Some of you may have this energy, like when you have sexual intercourse with someone, you can't tell. It's like adaptable. So for example, through your sexual intercourse, you may notice that you have a tendency to talk like them, walk like them. Things about you start adapting and molding into form or figures of the people that you're connected with. And it has something to do with your ability to bring into fruition whatever that energy is through sexual contact or obsessing over something long enough. You start to become it. So it's almost like that shape-shifting energy. When you visualize in solitude something that you want bad enough, that's a level of obsession, right? So if you sit there for long periods of time and you visualize a car, you are pulling on your intense focus for periods of extended time. And naturally, everything you do will be in pursuit of making sure that manifestation blossoms or comes into fruition. This is also wet dreams. This is also, like I said, meditating on it through meditation and sleep state. So every time you go to sleep, you are observed. You're having conversations. I want this. I want this so bad. So being in control over your thoughts, or maintaining these thoughts and not denying yourself that you feel them, or denying yourself that it wants to be released, or denying yourself that you do want to have these experiences. But somewhere along the line, there's some type of shame attached to your desire of these things. Like you feel like you have to stop being that because people might say certain things about you, or it's a bad thing. And bad is subjective. It's a lot going on spiritually here. Like a lot. Wow. A lot in the balance. 10 of Pentacles, 10 of Cups. But there's something that you feel like you cannot have because of something else. Because the Ace of Cups is here. We're missing the thoughts. All right. I see the Ace of Cups here in my mind's eye. So you know who you love or what you love. But you can't control it. And because you can't control someone loving you or control someone having the same type of love for you, it triggers a rejection, which then triggers inner child wounds of abandonment and betrayal. So it's like a big ass spinning wheel going super fast. So I'm seeing someone here where they're going to revert and focus on, it's like they're going to focus on getting their money up. So it's like there's this energy where, okay, now I'm going to focus on getting my money up. I'm going to focus on on building my image, my reputation, my physical attributes, and that's going to guarantee me the love that I want to experience. When I get there, I'll be happy. When I see this version of myself, I'll be happy. But I feel like the real lesson here is to learn how to be happy in your current circumstances, and learning how to love from an emotionally detached way that doesn't trigger the manifestation of all your old trauma wounds coming in. Because I feel like there's a maturing process happening here. Okay, there's a maturing process happening here, but the Knight of Pentacles is a path of purpose, but I feel like through this purpose it's going to like unveil and make someone very conscious and aware of what things that they need to work on so that they can experience more joy and happiness in their life. This is what relationships are meant to teach you, to make you aware of your telepathic dreams and connections, to make you aware of the spiritual realm. It's through those disappointments, it's through those rejections, it's through those oppositions that you become aware of the spiritual realm, what drives you, what motivates you. And is those things tangible? Is it control? Is it something that is built on a false start or faulty ground? Because I feel like the only way to get to this stable ground with another person is like this is like surrendering to spirit. You know how they say keeping your mind stayed on God or something like that helps you have a balanced area in every other area in your life. But when you are not the governing author of your thoughts, and you're not the governing author of what's being put into your subconscious, then you're just a walk-in. You're an empty soul. You're an empty vessel. So this is like people awakening from a dead state of consciousness and being aware that they haven't been in control of their vessel, that they've been a conduit for whatever is connecting to them. And I feel like what's been connecting is expressions of their shadow self, telling them to sabotage every good thing in their life and be suspicious and have a wandering eye and think 100 worst thoughts a day and think of worst case scenarios, never to believe that something great can come after it. This is a spiritual lesson here for somebody, but it ultimately will set you free and put you more on it's like you gotta have you have to be committed to something or you fall for anything. And I feel like a lot of the commitments that have been made before in the past were based off of tangible things. I got to have the person right in front of me to believe that they love me. I got to have that person, I got to have the physical house to believe the house is mine. I have to have that physical job and credentials that makes me believe that I'm worthy of whatever it is I'm speaking about. This is having blind faith. Look at that. Having blind faith is allowing extensive growth in a partnership. Okay? It's going to require blind faith. It's going to require you being open to sometimes, the truth is sometimes that you both have your own set of wounds and childhood traumas, and that's going to be there. But the more that you focus on what happened in the past, you're just going to bring it into your future, and it will block you. I think there's a fear, like someone has a fear of someone else outgrowing them or maturing at a more rapid rate than them, and it terrifies them. And this is like worryation, anxiety, having anxiety of the future and allowing the past to keep you back. But there's a intention to learn how to enjoy the present moment and to be very present in your now time, because with this crown chakra being so open and overstimulated, we got to start somewhere is what spirit is saying, and we got to focus on your emotional triggers and what makes you tick, you know. And if you can't control what makes you tick or the distractions that come about that triggers you, then how can we work to help you manage them? Something like that. All right, we're going to read this last card because Spirit keeps reminding me that I'm forgetting something. So I'm not going to forget, Spirit. I'm just about to pull out my little deck. All right, so we have Agarthans or Agarthans. Telosian ancestors were initially Atlantean and Lemurian refugee survivors from the Atlantis destruction. Agarthan are now a highly advanced, multidimensional, and sophisticated civilization that resides inside the pristine core of Hollow Earth. Telos is one of the divine citadels of the Agarthans, located beneath Mount Shasta, where they live a fruitful, serene, and abundant lifestyle, far superior to surface dwellers. They typically stand anywhere between up to 12 feet in height. Inner Earth's flora, fauna, and vegetation is of the finest and purest nutritional quality found anywhere. They live up to 800 years or more, and typically the very oldest do not appear older than 40 years of age in the flesh. The citadels are crystalline and magical to the eye, while being totally free from any toxins whatsoever. Agarthans mostly avoid traveling to surface Earth due to the energetic harshness and toxins. Though they do visit when need be, Agarthans are looking forward to the human collective ascension of consciousness, which cosmically also offers all ETs according to their developmental level. They will then be participating in the cleaning up and healing of human surface dwellers. In alliance with other benevolent ETs, the Agarthans are gatekeepers of the halls of Amenti, the ancient self-regulating cosmic portals, stargates, that cannot be entered until initiates of all species have ascended consciously. The crystals or Christos in their energy field. So we have attunement, synchronicities, manifesting, imagination, ascended consciousness, healthy lifestyle, multidimensional perception, nutrition, abundance, core issues, crystal energies, strong ethereal light body, attuned to emotional body, astral, living your truth. Wow. That's dope. And did y'all know that also the word or the name Kila represents, also means citadel, a stronghold, a strong fortified city or citadel. And that card kept talking about citadel. So these are just some of the synchronicities, Lord, that is coming through in this reading, y'all. I'm shooketh. Last card. Oh, that's too many, Spirit. Last card for Taurus. So we have Swan, Grace, You who glides across the waters of my soul, bring me your wisdom and light. Help me transform into elegance and grace. Inspire me with dignity and the spirit of beauty. Orca well, adventure. Dare to do things differently. Sing your wild song. Manifest your travel dreams. Attempt the great journey with confidence. Be loyal. Friends and family are your treasures. Be brave. You are more powerful than you know. Taurus, I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. I gotta find a way to turn this phone off. Hold on.